If you've ever hosted a dinner party, you'll know how stressful it could be. So imagine cooking for dozens of people who all want something different. If it was left to just me, I think it would be a recipe for a lot of burnt food. Thankfully, the chef here is very good at his job and he's agreed to take me on as his apprentice for the day.
I've always been a chef. I went to college many years ago. Started off as a part-time job at school, peeling potatoes and washing pots and pans. Got a love for it from there.
Matt Pritchard's been in kitchens for more than 20 years and he knows how important preparation is before the restaurant opens, so he's quick to put me to work. Hopefully it'll turn out all right. First job was part cooking chicken strips. It takes too long to heat them all from scratch every time some of them are needed. I don't think as an outsider you realise quite how much preparation there is to it all. I suppose you imagine that it's like cooking at home, you start with everything completely from scratch, but no, you've got to...
Well, this is it, you know, like I said before, the phrase mise en place, everything in place, is the sort of watchword for chefs. If you're all ready before service and you've got everything there, service of lunch and dinner is that much easier. If you're in the middle of service, you've run out of chicken strips, you've got 10 steaks on, you've got to cook, you know, that's when things start to get a bit hairy. When you eat at home, everybody sits down together. In a restaurant, you know, you can have 50 to 100 people sitting down within 20, 25 minutes, so everything's got to be ready, and you've got to try and make it feel as if they're the only ones in the restaurant, you know, and their meal comes all at the same time, it all looks good, and it's all cooked well. So it is having that preparation beforehand to make sure that in service everything's there at the right time.
It smells good. It smells very good. I'm just not used to cooking on a griddle, I suppose. But yeah, this would make me hungry all the time. The responsibility of me on this chicken, if it gets burned, there seems to be an awful lot of it. Flame grilled, we'll say. Charred, just not burnt. Once the chicken's cooked, it gets put to one side, ready to be included in several dishes, including pizzas and pasta. I think there might be a few people waiting for the lunch a bit longer if I was here. What's it like in this kitchen in particular, where you literally just have to turn around and you can see people eating what you've just cooked in there?
It's, you know, it's like I say, the first sort of open kitchen I've worked in to this extent, and you do get, you know, you see the whites of their eyes, as it were, and the majority of the time we get it right. People enjoy it. They, you know, they can ask us questions. We can make them recommendations, and it's always nice to get a thank you as they're leaving the restaurant.
Thirsty work. It's very hot. Next, it was time to polish up my knife skills, and suddenly I realised how blunt the ones are that I have at home, and how I'd never actually been shown how to cut things properly. I'm a lot slower.
That's it, no, that's fine. There's a little trick I should perhaps show you that it's not quite as easy to do with chives, but when you're chopping things, like carrots, you want to try and keep your thumb tucked in behind your fingers, and then curl your fingers over, and you've got the knuckle against the blade, and you're not going to go through into your nail. So obviously if you're at an angle like that, it's just practice with knife skills. The more you do it, the more proficient you get.
This is probably a job that Matt does in a few seconds. Don't want any finger in the chives. Obviously Italian cookery is something lots of us try to have a go at home. What do you think the one thing is which people try and get wrong that they can perhaps learn from?
Not to overcook the pasta. I think that is the one sort of genuine mistake that people make, that they just slightly overcook the pasta. And you've got to catch it.
By now the restaurant was open and Matt wanted to put me to the test building one of its most popular pizzas. How's that looking?
Yeah, that's super.
Yeah,
First thing.
I'm scared of dropping it, I think.
Okay. And if you make sure we don't get that flap. It hasn't stuck. Nicely cooked. Good colour. All the cheese is melted. I think for a first attempt, that's a pretty good effort. Yeah, very good.
Would you serve that to a paying customer?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's the test. Thank you very much. How could you sum up what you think the most rewarding thing about your job is, the thing that makes you want to be here every day?
That end product, when you've created something, it goes on the plate, it looks fantastic, it gets taken to the table and then people are enjoying it, and you get, like say, you get a thank you, or you get a nice letter, you know, saying how much they've enjoyed their day, if it's a wedding or, you know, just, you know, a couple out for an evening meal. At the end of the day, what makes the job worthwhile is why we get up in the morning, I think.